Hey, it's Mike Garafolo from NFL Network in the good old US of A. You're listening to my guys in the UK, the Third and Short podcast with Raiders fan Matt Davenport, his buddy Tom Higgins, and the producer Jamie Crawford. So keep it locked in for some American football knowledge coming at you right now.
Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Third and Short podcast now. We are still talking nonsense about American football, and still having mixed emotions with results, well, two of us anyway, and still going to continue the format we've had that has been, I was going to say successful, we don't really know if it's been successful, but we're sticking with it anyway. So I think, for those that are new to, I think there's a few new subscribers, 3 new subscribers since last week. Thank you, on YouTube. But we'll talk about our individual teams' games to start with, which I think will probably kick off with you two, seeing as you played each other. And then we'll talk about some results from last week, anything that stands out, and then we'll go on to next week's fixtures for ourselves. And sort of go from there, really. We've got some bits and bobs to add in. We've got quite a few questions again, I think, from quite a few different people, which is great. Not entirely sure if the people are real or not, but the questions are coming in thick and fast, so it's really, really good. But yeah, so I mean, I'll hand over to you two boys. Really, it was last night's game. Obviously, we recorded this on a Tuesday evening, and last night's game was the Giants versus the Buccaneers. I actually woke up around 2:00. Yeah, well, I didn't stay up. I woke up at 2, and I remembered your game was on, so I was like, "Oh, I'll bang the telly on." It might help me fall asleep, but it was actually a very decent game. Really, really good game from somebody who didn't particularly care about the result. It was quite exciting, particularly towards the end. I thought it was really good. I don't know how you two thought about it. Obviously, the result.
Second half was a lot better than the
first. I'll let Jamie go because they got the win, so I may as well.
6-2 on the season. It's crazy to think. But yeah, I mean, the first half was bloody dreadful for us, and we couldn't get anything going. I think we got 3 field goals in the first half, and just literally couldn't do anything. I mean, Giants basically turned out they were fucking 6-1 at the time, weren't they? It's like literally the other way around. They always turn up against that. Brady's never beat the Giants before, apparently. So I think it's just one of those, like, all of a sudden Brady just goes to crap and can't do anything. And then the Bucs always do awful against the Giants. And it's like the bogey team of the Bucs. But the first half was awful. I mean, you managed to, I think Dan Jones didn't get much rushing yards, but you still managed to get your running back breaking through, making runs against the pass rush defense in the league, and it just made our defense just look completely average. It was an odd game. This is why I never like playing Monday night games, because it's not the same. But the first half was awful, and then Dan Jones comes out for the first play of the second half and does what he does best and throws an interception and basically changed the game, didn't it? I mean, we were talking about it the whole time. He just go down, take a sack, but he's like, nah, I'm just gonna live dangerously, as I say, and just throw it into danger and hope that somebody catches it. But I think the past 4 games for the Giants, I know you can probably confirm this, have all been within 3 points that you've lost by. So
there's one win in there where we won by 1 point. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's all been between 2 and 3 points. So they're all entertaining games, but how many of those losses have been as a result of Dan Jones fumbling or throwing it away, or if he just took a sack? Yeah, I mean, so, but yeah, I mean, Rob Gronkowski again gets another one.
We did speak about that last night, didn't we, where you can tell he's still learning, Dan Jones, that we're going to call him DJ, Danny Dimes, with the, I think we mentioned that experienced quarterbacks will either, if they're going to take a hit, they'll protect the ball, cover it up and take the hit, or they'll throw it into the stands. And to be fair to Dan Jones, he's trying to make things happen, which I kind of admire a little bit. But
you don't admire it when Winston does it?
No, because he's crap. But no, I admire that he's confident in his ability, and he thinks, I'm going to get hit, I'm going to get sacked, I'm going to try and make a pass happen. And when it comes off, it looks great. And there's not many quarterbacks who can pull it off, though. Mahomes, Wilson, probably Kyler Murray, probably now as well. That's probably it.
Yeah.
the mobile sort of quarterback.
Mahomes just puts his arm like this, and wherever the ball comes from, it will just go to anyone.
He just gets out his little
Underarm
control pad, doesn't
throw.
he? He just puts the ball, like a little drone, sends
It's
it where it needs to go.
it is silly.
I'm happy it came out as a win for me anyway. So
yeah, agreed. I mean, it's weird. It's the first loss of the season where I've been able to absolutely chill about it and go sleep without being absolutely livid for the rest of the 3 hours I've got left to get up or something like that. But we were expected to get hammered. I was confident in our defense. I've said this all along since we've been on here. We are as strong as, I'd say, we're probably a top 8 defense. I'm not sure where we're actually ranked now. I know we've been in that top 8 for the majority of the season, but they keep us competitive every single game. I say it week in, week out. There's only one game we haven't been competitive, and it was San Fran. But since then, and obviously before then, we have been in games where, we say the Bears are actually lucky that, they could have lost some of the games that they won. We're the opposite. We've been so close to winning. Defense yesterday, again, really, really good. Even that cornerback 2 slot, I was absolutely slagging Yadam off at the start, saying Brady will just target him and target and target him. He made some good plays yesterday. He's probably cemented that number 2 spot now, because it was a mixture between him, Lewis, even Ballantyne at the start. But he's probably, after yesterday's performance, sort of cemented that, which is fine. Bucks did well against Bradbury. That was probably Bradbury's worst game. It was still an all right game, but that was probably his most costly game. 2 PIs and a touchdown allowed. I think that's his first PI this season. Jabril Peppers was unreal. I think he needed to after he blew that. Yeah, I think he needed to after the Eagles game where he blew that coverage. Another one sort of redeemed himself from the Eagles game. Engram on the offense had a solid game. But it's a bit of a killer, You guys know my thoughts on DJ, and I'm still with him till the end of the season, which I think the Giants are. I think this last half of the season is make or break for him. But he lost us that game yesterday, and it's not the turnovers. It wasn't the turnovers. It was the missed. There was 4 deep shots that were easy or wide open that could have all been touchdowns. But I've screenshotted a few things that I've come across on Twitter. So, you all know that I have only followed the Giants for a few years, but everyone started talking about Dan Jones being obviously the mini Eli. Now, the whole fan base are really torn on DJ, a bit like what they are with Derek Carr, but this fan base are right to be torn. Because he is showing signs where it's a bit weird. It's, you're unsure. But they're saying that Eli was exactly the same in his sort of first 4 seasons, was trying to do too much. But the frustrating thing here is you've got a coach, both Joe Judge and Garrett, coming out and saying, don't let, your biggest greatness be your biggest weakness, in the fact that you're trying to do things too hard. And it doesn't seem to be sinking in. We all celebrated the group yesterday, well, apart from Bucks fans, but laughing that he actually threw one out in that 4th quarter because you were shocked that it happened. But there's things here about, and people laugh about DJ, but there was 2 comparisons I saw on Twitter, which is why I still want to stick with DJ, because for me, he does have the potential. So against the same Tampa Bay defense, Aaron Rodgers in week 6 threw 16 of 35, 160 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. DJ threw 25 of 41, 256 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Great against the same defense. Good performance. He had some great throws. The dime for Dion Lewis, that first touchdown, couldn't have put it anywhere else. The dime for Tate, couldn't have put it anywhere else. And then the other one I saw was, really, really good. We'll move on to that prick in a minute. But the other one was against Pittsburgh Steelers, who obviously have got an unbelievable defense. Daniel Jones, week 1, 26 of 41, 279 yards, 2 TDs, 2 interceptions. Lamar Jackson, week 8, 13 of 28, 208 yards, 2 TDs, bloody hell, get it out, and 2 interceptions. So he's got the ability. It's just the mistakes that are costing us. And, it's a season and a half into his career. Got to have some slack, but they are big. Good thing yesterday, didn't fumble like Rojo. So it was great that Jamie couldn't come on and talk about damn fumbles Jones. That was a win for us. But yeah, I think more what I'm seeing on Twitter yesterday was, he probably lost a few people yesterday, DJ, because it was a costly, inaccurate game from him.
Could have won that game and be top of
you
your division, basically.
Yeah. It's a shame because it was a free game for us, but then I suppose when it's another 11-point lead lost, another opportunity at the end to sort of get back in the game. That throw to Dion Lewis should have been further out wide, and it would have been safe as houses. I know we spoke about it yesterday about the PI call, and there was mixed opinions, but I don't know if you can see it. You probably won't with it being on my phone and in here, but there's pictures on Twitter about how there's contact before, and Giants fans cling to it about, the flag should have been there, but the game should have been out of sight. And we've had that, time and time again. Cowboys, we moan about a non-holding call at the end of the game. It shouldn't matter. The game should be out of sight, and it's just another repeat of sort of the Giants not finding a way to win, just finding a way to lose. But I'm all right about it. We showed signs, and we've got two big games coming up now. We've got Washington next, and then Eagles after that, and then our bye week. I think the winner of this week's game will top the NFC East. The Cowboys, I think, are done for. No fault of their own, really. They have been shit, but if they had Dak, they would.
I just
they
seen
would have won it.
Andy Dalton's on COVID protocol as well.
Is he? Oh
yeah,
my
so
God!
I just read a stat literally in the last hour that they're going to promote somebody from the practice squad who is going to start at quarterback at the weekend.
Is it Alex Tanney or whatever he's called?
I can't remember the name. It's not the guy who played just the week gone. It's someone else.
I think it might be the Giants reserve from the last few years, because I know he was on their practice squad.
Trying to find it.
But yeah, I think what.
It's like basically, like every time the commentators speak, it's like just called up from the practice squad. Like he's doing really great. Just called up, like, why don't you just call everybody up from the practice squad? Because apparently they all do great.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I think I'm happy with that performance, and it gives us sign. Washington are showing signs of doing well.
Cooper Rush.
Right? Yeah.
Because Andy Dalton's down with COVID, and it's not going to be that Ben DiNucci.
He had a concussion as well, didn't he? Dalton in the last.
Yeah, he did the week before. Yeah. He's on COVID.
He was hung out to dry, that DiNucci, wasn't he?
Yeah.
This week.
Yeah.
Absolutely hung out to dry. But yeah, there was like I say, to wrap up, positive signs. If we can go and somehow keep that performance, but DJ just tunes up to what he can do, then we'll destroy Washington, and then we'll give the Eagles a solid game. And if we win those two games, you're back in it. And I've looked at our fixtures, and then you're relying on beating the Bengals. Not going to be an easy game. Beating the Cowboys, still not going to be an easy game. And then your only other real options, maybe the Browns, depending on which Browns turn up. So NFC East, 6 wins. If you get these next 2 and those 3, you're winning it. It's as simple as that, how the division is. But I think that's make or break for Gettleman, and that's make or break for Dan Jones. I think if we don't win any of those games, chances are we're second pick, maybe even first if the Jets fluke it somehow. And then you're looking at the likes of maybe the Buckeyes, Justin Fields, whatever he's called, being, quite an easy option for the Giants to go, fucking hell, we're going to have to cut our losses on DJ. Potentially a new GM, wants a new QB. Don't know. I feel sorry for him. I do think he's the guy. But again, I'm reserving judgment until the end of this season. Let's see how he gets out of it. But positive signs. Joe Judge, got to say something about Joe Judge, is clearly an unbelievable coach. The way he's got these players playing hard for him with the lack of talent we have. To still be in the games, in the positions we are, and to be so close. My God, if we get some talent in, it's going to be dangerous with him in charge. And Jason Garrett yesterday finally let the chains off. Don't know what prompted it, but we've been waiting for it. And if DJ was accurate, it would have paid off big time. We had some great plays yesterday, and he was actually letting him go deep, which is what I want to see.
I think he was good for the Cowboys. The years he had there as a coach, I quite like him. I think the Cowboys, to sort of sidetrack, like the Cowboys is a thankless task, whoever's in charge, because the fan base just expect them to do well all the time.
Yeah.
It's because they're America's team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he did well with Dak Prescott. I think was he like a 4th or 5th round pick, Prescott, and I think he was to sit behind Tony Romo, and Romo got injured, and Dak came in and hasn't looked back really. It's not like Tony Romo to get injured. Yes, I thought it was a good game. Really good game.
Needs to throw a sick note for this gig.
I thought it was a really good game last night. I really enjoyed.
Very nervy at times.
Yeah, well, I enjoyed it
because I know if we lose,
really
here in the end of it.
Yeah.
that was the worst part if we lost. We're going to get those poppers back out.
I really didn't care who won it. I'm over the defeat to the Bucs. I do think the Bucs will be right up there come Christmas time. So I'm over that defeat. I was more disappointed with the manner in which we lost, which I spoke about last week. I'm not going to go into it anymore. So I wasn't really bothered. If it had been like the Patriots or something like that, I'd have really wanted the Giants to win. And I think I did. If I had to pick a team, I'd have probably gone the Giants just for the underdogs side of it. But it was a really good game. Really enjoyed watching it. And I remember looking at and watching it. It was like 20 past 4, and I was like, I think I said in the group, I do not want this to go to overtime. Because my alarm goes off at 6:45, and I mean I'd had a couple hours sleep before I woke up, but I could have done with a bit more perhaps. Really good game. I thought if there is neutrals out there, I'd probably recommend getting the highlights for that game, because there's quite a lot that went on. That catch from Golden Tate was class, I thought.
It was
mint, like top level. I mean Gronk did what Gronk does in the end zone. He did what he had to do. I think they're now the second. I think Brady and Gronk in terms of how many TD passes.
About 21 behind, aren't they?
Yeah, would he get there? I don't know. It'd be close if they play together next season. But you sort of, as much as I don't like either of them, I'll sort of tip my hat to that and say that's fair play, especially with Gronk having a couple of years out as well.
I think they've got that bet on for like comeback player of the year, and I think Gronk's got a good out chance to become the comeback player of the year.
Has anybody
Alex
else
Smith.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah. So if it weren't obviously for Alex Smith, which is completely understandable, but Gronkowski to perform the level, to the level that he's done so far.
Alex Smith nearly died and lost his leg. Gronk just went into WWE for a bit.
And won a 24/7 title.
And minced about for a bit as well.
So
the
Raiders.
It is alive.
Raiders good. I think I talked something last week about the Browns were a false 5-2. They'd not really come up against anyone of any merit, really. I was probably disrespectful to some of the teams that they played, but so I wouldn't say I was confident. I was expecting a close win, I would say. And we got the news literally just before kickoff that Trent Brown had been wheeled out of the locker room by medics before the game. Our 6'9", 5,000 stone man mountain of an offensive his right tackle, I think. What happened was that he was given an IV because he was on the COVID. He was tested positive for COVID the week before, and the got air into his system. So it can be fatal. That so I wonder if it's the same guys who punctured Tyrod Taylor's
some dodgy medics out there.
So that was obviously a shame that he didn't get to play. I think he's looking like he might be all right this week. But so having that when you've already got a struggling weakened O-line anyway, it wasn't good news to hear. But when you see the weather report, and there's 55-mile-an-hour winds, there was rain, sleet, snow, and hail during the game. There was planes that were told not to land during the game because of the weather. And Vegas is obviously it's in a sunshine state. The Raiders were from California, originally in Oakland. They're not used to adverse weather conditions, and I think Gruden said in the post-match presser that they haven't seen rain in Vegas for 193 days. So it's not something probably some of the players, certainly the rookies, have come across in the NFL yet. Anyway, so to grind out a win like he did, was quite nice to see. I think I sent a clip to you two earlier of Colin Coward, who said basically Gruden out-coached the Browns coach in that game.
Yeah.
That's how he won the game. His experience came through, and he knew how to sort of pound the ball. We ran the ball, Jacobs, which is why he's there. Went 130 yards, I think. Didn't score a touchdown, but he absolutely smashed their defence to bits with his running. Devontae Booker was class as well, with the running back. And there should have been a touchdown for Ruggs. It was chalked off. I think there's quite clear evidence that both teams were in. But we got the win, 16-6. We've kept the Browns to 6 points, whereas every other team had scored 24 or more against us until Sunday. And apart from, I think it was the Panthers, it might have been the Saints, one and two, everyone else has scored more than 30. So to keep a team down to 6 at their home place as well, I know there's not particularly large crowds in at the moment, but to keep a team down to 6 is credit to what Gruden has done. He did say there'd be changes on his defence with certain schemes and certain things happening. Jonathan Abraham coming back, I think, is massive. The guy's an absolute machine. I think just watching him in the post-game presser as well, I just love him because he just says what he thinks, and I'm sure it'll get him in trouble at some point in the coming weeks, months, years. But some of the questions they were asking him, like he said, I think one of them asked him, "We bothered about the weather?" And he said, "No, we'll turn up and play. We'll play on concrete. We'll turn up wherever you want, and we'll play football, and we're here to win, and that's what we'll do." And I think it's perhaps the not immaturity, but the experience coming out where I know that's what you think, but perhaps not what you want to say sometimes. But I just kind of love him. I think he's great. He brings something else. I think Gruden mentioned that he brings a different hype to the team when he's in the dressing room, and there's a little clip of him dancing as well before the game, which is mint. He's just having a whale of a time in the warm up, and it's quite infectious, I think, for teammates to see him having a good time and how good he is as a player as well. So, I'm really pleased with the result. It puts us 4-3 now with some more winnable games, but tough games coming up. We play the Chargers this week, and I think they're the opposite to the Browns. They're a false sort of position.
Yeah, agreed.
Although we'll come on to that result in a minute. But so I'm really, really happy with that result. Thought it was decent to win. Can't really grumble at a win. And I'm chuffed for 4-3.
Yeah, good. It was a good result. I enjoyed watching the highlights.
Crazy win, though.
I like to see the Raiders do well.
The kicking of
that first field goal.
Bend it like Beckham.
Literally, you can see he's aiming.
It was a perfect kick.
Yeah, the far post. He thought a little bit of wind, just take that over. And until I don't know how far it was, but it went like 10 yards out. It was Here we go. Oh, it's gone. I think Mahomes must have got his remote control out again and just sent it for a bird.
Like one of my golf shots.
But yeah, it was. I think the two kickers as well. The Browns kicker, I can't remember his name, and Carlson. They went to college together, so they knew each other. So they were talking pre-game and post-game about the window. I think they were trying to give each other a few pointers, which is pretty good to see considering they're about to play against each other.
Yeah,
you wouldn't see that in Sunday League football over here. Careful of that bit of the grass, lads. It's a bit wet over there. You wouldn't tell much. Yeah.
That's what I mean. That's the one thing I love about American football is there's the camaraderie there, and obviously they want to see each other do well. Unless obviously you're Jeffrey Wims, and you just want to just go, "You right, mate?" That was the best bit. It was
embarrassing.
The rumours are the other lad spat at him, Thunderbolt. I've never understood why you'd hit somebody with the helmet on.
I know.
It's only going to hurt you.
I think it must have, because I'm sure the second swing is a slap, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's probably done his wrist in or what have you. Been like, better slap.
Broke his knuckle.
I just love it when Jenkins comes to try and split it up and he's just getting carried between the two arms that are like attached.
I think he only got a 2-game suspension for that as well.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
But at least he tapped on his shoulder, just looked at him and went, "I'm going to hit you now." He's like, "All right."
Very weird. But having said that, there was some, that was weird, but some weird results out there, wasn't there?
Different kind of show.
Cheeky flash.
For anyone who listens and doesn't watch on YouTube, it might be worth getting on YouTube.
Matt turned into Andy the Meat Man for a second.
That's got his first clip of the week ready.
Blackpool's best sausages.
So yeah,
Some crazy results. I mean,
yeah,
a big one, Dolphins. Tua coming in and doing
literally, first one I wanted to talk about is the Dolphins.
Tua didn't really come in and do it though, did he?
He didn't do. He only got one touchdown.
It was mainly their defense, wasn't it? Especially
he got. I was having a look at it. He only got 93 yards.
93 yards, one touchdown. Yeah, which is pretty poor actually.
Yeah,
but 88 yard punt return touchdown was beautiful. And yeah, for some reason, like I said, I mean, he only had 22 attempts and 12 completions, but you still won your first ever game, didn't you? And he got a touchdown pass to start the whole game off. He got the game ball. It's a nice moment for a rookie, isn't it, to get a win against LA? But
not everyone can make the debut, do their second highest, come back, rush for two, throw for two. But yeah, he's done all right, bless him. Let's see how many games he wins in a season and a half. If it's more than 4, then he's better than DJ. The one for me, well, there's 2 for me, but the big one, Bengals, Titans. That's a huge result.
Yeah, massive.
Joey Burrow's coming up trumps. Looks really good.
Yeah, he does. And it's just, I was going to say it's a shame he's in such a poor team, but I don't think they are that poor, really. They're not great, but I don't think they're as bad as the Jets, say. But
nope.
They're a funny team, the Bengals. Burrow's absolutely made a difference. There's no 2 ways about it. But they're 2-5 and 1 tie. They got a great result against Titans, who were 5-1, but they're still 2-5 with that win. It's just must be frustrating for a Bengals fan. Because I think Burrow is a real deal. I think we've said it for a few weeks now. I think he's really
good. You'd hope that the likelihood is they're probably going to get a decent pick this year. So your hope as a Bengals fan is that they do well with their draft cap and they build upon Burrows and build around him because he's definitely a franchise quarterback.
I think so. I think they've got a quarterback for at least a good 10 years there. Probably.
Yeah. So moving on from a potentially good quarterback, we'll go to a really shit quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. Did really well against the Vikings, didn't he? Absolutely fantastic. Brilliant result. Absolutely love to see it. Enough, especially when Kirk Cousins only throws 1, and they still beat Green Bay. They're absolute overrated.
You say Rodgers didn't have a good game, but
he had an alright game. But he didn't win, did he? He didn't put the team on his back, as everyone makes out that he does. He did nothing. He did nothing. He is shit. Fuck Aaron Rodgers. Fuck Matt Brown. They're shit.
3 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Brilliant
to see.
Nearly 300 yards. It's I think
what?
That could be our hashtag for the show. Fuck A-Rod and fuck Matt Brown.
Yeah, absolutely.
In fact, it was trending on Twitter. People, it is Matt Brown.
Well, exactly. Who is he? He's a nobody. Don't worry, everyone. He's an absolute nobody.
But all the free passes were going to Devontae Adams as well to get his hat trick. So
I do like Devontae Adams. I think he's class.
Yeah, solid player.
Yeah, it is a weird result because the Packers were 5-1, Vikings were 1-5. You'd have never have called that.
Nope.
Even as a Vikings fan, you'd have assumed you're in for a tough season. But you never know, that could kickstart them now. And I've always had a soft spot for the Vikings. I think their helmet it's a weird thing to say, but their helmet's one of the best.
I love their helmets, those purple-headed warriors.
I just think the little Viking horns on the side, I think it looks mint for a helmet. And the other helmet I like is the Bengals. I think that's a class helmet as well. Yeah. I do like the Vikings. They were almost there. Was it last season before?
That amazing play against the Saints, weren't it? Like last minute.
Well, it was more of a whiff from the Saints, wasn't it? Than Diggs making an amazing play.
It's still like the Sky opening thing now, isn't it?
The
Sky goes, oh my God!
It was brilliant, that. It was brilliant. But I'm a bit of a shit. I really like the fact that they failed to make the Super Bowl because it was at their place. And they were calling it like the Minnesota Miracle. I was like, please fail. And it did. So I was quite happy because I'm a bit of a prick like that.
It's going to be the Tampa dream, innit? That's going to fail.
Yeah, and I can't wait for that bubble to burst. I mean, I give our defense credit because we made you look average, but I actually think you are overrated now we've played you. I think you'll lose in your first playoff game, but I still think that's good for the Bucs, like you said, Jamie.
I said I'd happily take the playoffs.
Yeah,
considering it's been a very long time since we got there. It's a winning season. If I said it before Brady came anyway, if you say at the start of the season, would you take a winning season? You're like, yeah, don't care.
100%.
Especially with Saints in our division, who are
Yeah.
still an unbelievable team, who we are facing this weekend on another 1:20 a.m. game on Sunday night. So I hate these prime time games.
But you look at the Giants yesterday. So you like you say you're probably the premium rush defense, aren't you? And we had 2 rookies, a first year center, and a right tackle who's awful as it is anyway, playing, and then we were bringing Matt Purdy in, who was a rookie right tackle, to swap with Cam Fleming. And we were allowing Goldman to run straight up you. We weren't even going to the edge.
Yeah.
We were just going through you. And I think you're there to be beaten. I think you still got that soft side, which probably after a year of having Brady in, you can see he's trying to bring people up already. I think that will change. But yeah, I just think, like Matt said, I think it's a win or bust season. I think it's Brady's contract is a win or bust for the Bucs. And then where you go from there, God knows. It's definitely not bringing Winston back.
I think with it, I mean, I've always said Giants are our bogey team anyway, but with the game, I would rather play shit against the Giants than play shit against the Saints. We've had that shit
Someone
game
can
now.
punish you.
Let's go smash them. Like, because we've played incredible against the Packers, against the Raiders. We've had these really, really good games. So I'm glad this shit game happened against a shit team. I mean, no offense. And then obviously we're going over to the Saints now on Sunday, and that's going to be like the biggest game of our season, because if we win that, we're winning our division. If we lose it, they're topping it, and they've got a game in hand.
Yeah.
So
I don't think you necessarily played shit against us. We're probably taking a bit away from the Giants there. It's not like me to give them credit, but we were all sort of. I think there's probably 3 or 4 times when we'd put in the group that it was like unbelievable play from our corners to break a play up. We just schemed well. I mean, Patrick Graham has been an unbelievable steal to bring in from the Dolphins, and I can't believe I'm saying it with how he was last season at the Dolphins, how the Dolphins were, but he's been brilliant. I think my only negative about him is I'd prefer to rush with 4 than 3, but with our linebacker unit, I don't think we've got that edge, that outside linebackers that gives you the speed if you're rushing with 4 to make up. So I'm happy that it goes 3 and 4. And you just saw it a bit yesterday, like Tom Brady was getting a bit too much time in the pocket when we were rushing with 3. If we had that 4th, we probably would have gobbled him up a few times. I think there was 1 4th down where I was just like, that was so bad in the group and a bit costly. But with the personnel he's got, he's working absolute wonders on that defense. And yeah, it's tough as a Giants fan because, it just gives you that hope that he's probably going to get ripped away. But, we come out losing to the Bucs by only 2 points with a chance to convert that 2-point conversion at the end and take it to overtime. Defense has played great. Your offense has played great apart from your quarterback, and that your quarterback has got it in him to play good. If he can just tune up and we stay the same, we get him wins. But it just gives that false hope that we'll go to Washington next week. And
it's the worst thing in football. False hope. Hope is the worst thing. This is the only problem about us being good now, is that literally we have playoff hopes. I'm happy with this. Yeah.
September every season, I'm like, this is the year we make it. This is the year we're doing things. by October, normally I'm like, at least we've got a good draft.
That's what we're building for next year. We're all right.
Only a couple of the results I think worth mentioning, really. Patriots, Bills.
Yeah.
Bills family did it.
Cam.
Love Cam. My favourite. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Just a good result for the Bills. Cam lost the Patriots game, or didn't win in the game. It's probably the fair way to put that.
Yeah.
Steelers, Ravens as well. That was tight. Lamar
back and forth that one. It was ridiculous.
I thought Lamar was rolling at the end as well, but
he
blew it, unfortunately.
I think Lamar, did he get, was it 3? No, just 2 interceptions. Because I think pretty sure that the first play
There was
threw it away
one for
straight away. First play, because I remember
Minka
watching it.
Fitzpatrick, by the way, is horrid, but horridly good.
Yeah,
He's just nasty, isn't he?
Yeah.
JJ's picked an unbelievable time to follow these, coincidentally, JJ.
But he did want to mention to JJ, he wanted to follow the Raiders, but because I already did, he said, I'll pick another team. And I think it was the black jersey of the Raiders that he liked. So,
yeah,
the only other team is
get your closest,
or Saints, really, I suppose. But
exciting to be a Steelers fan at the moment.
Until they choke and lose the season.
Well, we put my mate JP John Port in the group over the weekend, who's a 49ers fan, and I think he said he's got the Steelers to win it all, hasn't he? We'll definitely have John on here because he's been into NFL over years, and I think I mentioned he's coached his uni team. So we'll have JP on here, and our group chat keeps getting bigger and bigger every week. More and more people go into it. I've got two more to add to it. I'm just waiting for him to come back to me.
Bill messaged me this morning saying he woke up to 500 texts on WhatsApp.
JJ did.
I was quite surprised though, because there was about 4 of us up, and I think Mark was as well, but he didn't really contribute. It was us 3.
I think Mark must have nodded off because he started, didn't he? And then he got quiet.
So 4 of us up at 4 a.m.
Text me saying Jesus, mate, and there was 502 messages in the group chat. The last one being at 4:25 a.m. and that was Gaz replying whatever to me. But the only result I wanted to just touch on very briefly was a divisional game between the Chargers and the Broncos. Being that the Chargers romped into the lead quite early on. Herbert, he's looking really, really good, Herbert.
Agreed.
Really good. And they were 14-3 up, and then they were at the end of the third, they were 24-10 up. And then in the fourth quarter, Denver scored 3 touchdowns, 21 points, and they won the game 31-30. Now, I'm going to put that down to inexperience from Herbert. However, the Broncos have a fairly inexperienced quarterback in Drew Lock as well. So
he did well in that final quarter, didn't he?
Yeah, 248 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception is pretty decent. 3 touchdowns for Herbert, 278 yards, but 2 interceptions. I think that's what set them apart, really. But that's probably, I've not watched the highlights, but that's probably an exciting game to recap on if you're neutral.
I know a lot of people were saying the Bronx were pretty bad, but obviously at the start of the season they had the Steelers and the Titans and the Buccaneers in their first 3 games. So obviously they were 0-3. And then obviously they've had the Jets, Patriots, and then obviously they beat the Chargers now, and then obviously they've lost to the Chiefs. So imagine having them in your first 4 games.
Yeah.
5 games with Titans, Steelers, Buccaneers, Jets, and then Patriots, and then the Chiefs in your first few games. It's quite mental. But if you look at who they've got to come, Falcons, Raiders, Dolphins, Saints, Chiefs again, Panthers, Bills, Chargers. I mean, they could get a run. You never know, but they're not as bad as what people thought they would. I mean, they've put up a good fight to get back.
Losing Von Miller, it was huge for them.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal
one of the best in the game.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he does come back from that next season. I hope not. But sounds like yes, obviously Broncos divisional rivals and all that business. We've got it brings us on nicely to next week's fixtures. We've got the Chargers this weekend. It's always a funny game, or it was pre-COVID, that the Raiders always had more fans in the stadium in San Diego than the Chargers did. So it was always we get 2 home games against the Chargers. That was always the funny thing. And I dare say, being formerly from LA as well, that we would have had more fans in the stadium in LA than the Chargers.
Yeah.
They're not a very well supported team, the Chargers. But I'm apprehensive about it, really. I think it's a game, if we are playoff candidates, playoff hopefuls, we should be winning, really. But I'm erring on the side of caution a little bit. I do think Herbert is pretty good. I do think they've got some other good players as well. I'm a fan of Keenan Allen. I think he's mint. And they have got a few other decent players. But I don't know.
This is the biggest week for all of us. I mean, all divisional games, all with the opportunity to get to the playoffs. Like you said, you've got Raiders, Broncos, Giants, Washington, and Bucs, Saints. I mean, they're all big divisional rival games.
Yeah.
It's going to be hopefully a happy week next week, but
Episode 7 never happened.
Episode Lucky 7, hopefully.
Coming on if we fucking
Lucky
lose
7.
to Washington. I cannot be bothered with that. Oh,
if we all win, though, we'll all get poppers and we'll all join together. Not those kind of poppers, you know, the pie poppers.
It's the wrong kind of podcast, that, mate.
Not suitable for children again, please, Jamie.
We've already seen what religion I am.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be a very good Sunday, I reckon. It's gonna a lot to play for. Like I said, I think our Bucs Saints game is whoever wins that's top in the group.
Yeah, I think it's the same for us. I do. I think Washington are improving week on week. They've got one of the strongest pass defenses, which worries you as a Giants fan. However, I think we shouldn't bring Will Hernandez back in if he clears COVID protocols. I think Shane Lemieux was unbelievable for his debut game. I know Mark said that he couldn't believe how low he dropped. The coaches have said some good things about him. One of them being that he was a bit too nasty and a bit too aggressive, so they've reined that in. But you like to have that about him. Weirdly, Andrew Thomas had his best game of the season. Looked good. I wouldn't say looked great, but looked miles better than what he has all season, and that was with another rookie next to him rather than Will Hernandez, who's been awful. So I think for me, I'd stick with it. Why not? It's worked. You've had, you've looked solid. You've not let as many pressures through as you have before. See if it carries on. Hopefully, it sounds terrible, but hopefully he doesn't clear protocols. Hopefully he's clean, but just not early enough. And I think the only worry is, at the time we're recording this, it's the deadline tonight, I think, isn't the trade deadline? I think Kevin Zietler and Golden Tate go from the Giants. So where that leaves us is, Zeitler's been, I'd say, okay this season at right guard, but he's our vet on that line. So we've just signed Kenny Wiggins from Lions, who I'll have to ask Bones about. But I think he's only played something like 30-odd games in 8 seasons, so obviously nothing that special, but I imagine it's that veteran presence just to fill that hole when Zeitler goes. But again, that Shane Lemieux can play there if Will Hernandez comes back in. But then it's who fills that slot receiver in Golden Tate's absence. I've not been a fan of him this season, but the last 2 games he's made 2 big touchdown catches. It was, and he's got that in him. He has, and he's called Showtime Tate for a reason.
I remember when he signed him, and I was bigging him up. I was a fan of him.
He is. He's a big time player, but DJ spread the ball around well this season, and Golden Tate hasn't received as much as he's wanted. He just broke before. They didn't actually show it on our recorder. I didn't see it on what we were watching, but apparently he picked the ball up after touchdown and screamed into the camera, pass me the ball, basically, or give me the ball. And then his missus has just absolutely gone to town on the Giants all over Instagram. About how they don't use him enough and how he'll make her delete this, but because he's a team player, but it's a shambles basically how much they're not using him and stuff. But it's not like we're targeting people over him. He just isn't getting that separation, and he hasn't done what he should be doing for the Giants that he did for the Lions to earn that reputation. He shows a flash of it, and thank God he's shown a flash the past 2 games, because I'm hope that gives us an extra round pick for him rather than a 6. Maybe we'll be able to get a 5th for him, but I think he's a goner, especially after all that. I think he's been one of Gettleman's stinky trades with how much we're paying for him. Free agency. How much we're paying for him. So I think he'll be gone, and we'll just have to deal with a bit of dead cap for 2 years. But I'd take it. I'd take it and get that 6th pick that we need next year, because we've still only got 5 draft picks as it stands.
I'd take Golden Tate with the Raiders.
Yeah, I think Green Bay are looking for a receiver, apparently.
I think there was someone else. The Ravens. because we're going to talk about him now as well. I know you absolutely despise him, Matt, after last year, but Brown is due to make his debut against the Saints, Antonio Brown. So I know he was looking to go towards the Ravens as well before, obviously, Buck signed him up, but is Antonio Brown going to be good? I hope so. I know how excited you were looking forward to him at the Raiders.
Yeah,
so.
it's going to go one of two ways, isn't it? First, you look at, you ignore his personality and his persona and whatever, and look at his ability, and
he will be number one.
He was in 2017-18. He was the best receiver in the NFL. No two ways about it. He was the cover boy for Madden. He was on fire at the Steelers. They had Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown, and that they should have been the best team in the NFL, really. Roethlisberger's garbage though, but whatever. Although the 7-0, 7-0. So when you take out his sort of off-field antics, the Bucs have got a potentially star player, even with the players you have in Mike Evans and Godwin and whatnot. I think Antonio Brown is better than them.
Yeah.
However, he's a dick, an absolute dick. For anyone who's fairly new to the NFL, he was traded to the Raiders. I was buzzing for it, as I mentioned the other week. I bought his jersey. It was a huge coup for us, and obviously he had the best thing to do is watch the Raiders Hard Knocks series.
Yeah,
it goes into that pretty well, and he was making excuses of why he couldn't be there. He got frostbite on his feet, so he couldn't train. But there's little things like he was training with Derek Carr during the off season. He was going to his house and they were working together way before any of the camps. So that at the time made me think, do you know what? Yeah, we've got an absolute player here. And then one thing led to another. He was an absolute gimp, and we cut him because of his attitude.
Was he kicking off about a helmet or something like that as well?
Yeah. So this is what I'm about to get to. His helmet he's had had gone over I think it's a 10-year limit where it then becomes not usable. It's not one of the helmets the NFL allowed players to use. So he was kicked. That was the first sort of bit of trouble, really. You think, you can see both sides of it. I mean, towards it's a helmet. I don't know a lot about it. I've never had to wear one. But you can sort of see, well, if it's the helmet he's had for his whole NFL career, that particular shape, brand, or whatever, then I get it a little bit.
Yeah.
But the more you look into it, the more you think that's just his excuse, because he had a run-in with Mike Mayock, who at the time was the new general manager, who they had a run-in at the side of the field during training. And there was words, and in a nutshell, Mayock basically told him to knock off, saying, you're not big in the team. They cut him that day or that night. So there's obviously he's come out and he put a video of himself on Instagram and Twitter of him cheering when he found out the Raiders had cut him and all this sort of stuff. That he was free, finally free. All sorts of other stuff's gone on. He's been accused of various things. He's had the police at his house, all since being cut and all that sort of stuff. And then he signed with the Patriots not too long after. Played one game and they cut him.
Touchdown.
He did score a touchdown, yeah, but they cut him. So, you start to think.
Sexual allegations, though, weren't it? So
you've gone really quiet there, Jamie. Can I just?
Quiet.
Yeah. You've gone silent now.
They caught him for sexual allegations. That's why, weren't it? So,
yeah, but this is what I mean. There's all the off-field stuff going on, and then obviously there's various things that have happened and stuff in the last 12 months and whatever. So I don't really know. Do the Bucs need him? No, I don't think so. If they get,
it's one of those things that everybody's doing at the moment. They're just picking up third and fourth choices, because if there's an injury, you've got those, especially with COVID. If, say, Mike Evans get COVID, what are you going to do? Like, Godwin's out injured, all we're going to have is Scotty Miller, which is incredible anyway, and Tyler Johnson. But you need those options there now. And I think that's what a lot of teams are doing, picking up these third and fourth string players to fill in those voids in case there are injury or COVID protocols. So, I mean, they did say it's part of his contract that if he is found guilty in December, his contract's terminated, which is great. So if he can get in some good plays at the time, I mean, hopefully, God forbid he is innocent, because, we don't want that kind of thing in the NFL. But,
my worry, if I was a Bucs fan, would be, we've got a good team here. Do we really need to upset it? Is Antonio Brown going to be happy not being the main man? Because he won't be. He definitely won't be the main man. There's a lot of big characters in that team now. The Gronks, the Mike Evans, the Leonard Fournette. There's some big characters in that team, and he is going to try and be alpha male like he is. But it's going to go one of two ways. I think.
It's either going to be the sign of the season and it's going to be amazing, or it's just going to go to shit and he gets cut after 2 weeks.
The Raiders side of me wants that second option to happen. I really want him to ruffle your feathers and upset you with him. Not because I want the Bucs to lose, but because it's like, well, why is somebody signing him when he's had enough chances? So I would have said the same if anybody would have signed him. Well, I hope he messes up his season, because I think he's a tit and he's had too many chances.
Brady absolutely loves him though, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be an unbelievable move. I think it's risk free. The fact that they've put all these stipulations in their contracts about his off-field conduct and stuff, then it makes the Bucs look better if something does happen. It's his third chance. He'll now know that it's his final chance. Having that over you probably makes you want to succeed. But I agree, he is a cock. So, there's still the risk that it doesn't. Not gonna lie, I'm here for that. I love that sort of player every now and again. I just endear myself to one of them when they just don't give a fuck. And, I'm not about the sexual sort of off-field conduct, but the not giving a fuck about anyone but himself in the NFL. I think it's an elite mentality. When you've got that talent, it just goes hand in hand. I think they showed a graphic, didn't they, on Monday Night Football, that he's, in regards to all active receivers, he's still second in all rankings, and that's with the time he's had out. Just shows how good he is. I think he will be the main man when it comes to wide receivers. I also think that can be a negative for the Bucs. I think it shows Arians, I'd say, bit of weakness. He's letting Brady call the shots. Arians hasn't wanted to sign him. You saw, Jamie, you posted it in the group earlier, that picture from March before you signed Brady. He'd come out and said he'd never be anywhere near it. And then
that was about Antonio Brown.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, Brady comes in, and guess who they signed? The one that Brady's tried to get the Patriots at Tampa Bay. The power's in Brady's hands, but I think because of that, Brady does like his favourites, doesn't he? I mean, look at what he did with Edelman and Gronk at New England, and now what he's doing with Scotty Miller at Tampa Bay. Well, if he gets AB in, I think you'll start to see it more. So I think it'll only be a positive. And if it fucks up, what have you lost? Really, tiny bit of cap space. It's not a massive deal, is it, that he signed for?
No, I mean, like I said, even if it's just for a little bit until Godwin gets fit again. I mean, just to fill that extra gap, maybe. But I hope he is elite and he goes on and we do incredible things and he gets the numbers that he did for the Steelers. But
if he does, you will lose Mike Evans.
I agree.
It's a choice between those two.
Not particularly, because like I said, what Matt was saying, I still think Mike Evans, again, is one of the greatest and elite wide receivers, but he's only got 300-odd yards. And you were like, well, that's not good enough. But he's still got 6 touchdowns. He doesn't need those yards. Antonio Brown could get the yards. Mike Evans will get the touchdowns in the red zone.
Those two will not be on. They will not be on the same team. Not purely for your cap.
One on the left, one on the right. Godwin and Gronk in the tight ends.
Not a chance. On paper that'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? But it isn't going to happen.
And you don't want to play second fiddle to do that.
Yeah, it isn't going to happen.
To both.
Mike Evans is a bit of silent assassin.
He's got some passion.
Comments. He's quite a hothead.
Yeah. I was making some comments about Evans in the group last night, and Tom will confirm that I was absolutely fishing. I texted him out of the group and said, "I've got them both here. You didn't buy as much, to be fair, Jake. Gaz did a little bit. I think Evans is great. I think he's a really good wide receiver. I do think he probably does need to up his yardage a little bit. I know touchdowns are goals, that's what matters, but I think for a wide receiver, it's let's get us downfield, let's get the yards. That's my take on an elite wide receiver. You look at Julio Jones and he's just banging in yards after yards after yards for a really average team. But
he hasn't helped this year. I will give Evans that. The 3 games that I've watched of the Bucs, he's not used him or targeted him much at all. And I don't think it's lack of separation from Evans, because he is good like that. And he loves Scotty Miller. And then it's clear that he's using Scotty Miller to progress down. And then when it's coming to that
Get your big
clutch,
guys,
he's
Gronk
using
and Evans.
Gronk or Evans, yeah. Which again, I suppose shows how good Brady is. But yeah, when you're then trying to argue that Mike Evans is an elite, an elite wide receiver, he's not. He's actually an elite red zone player, maybe.
Well, I mean, he's had 1,000 yards in his first. Every season he's had over 1,000 yards. So
how tall is he?
The only players
Out of interest, how tall is he?
Is he about 6'5"?
He could end up transitioning to a tight end, really.
Yeah.
You look at
especially with his ankle problems. He's
great tight ends are always sort of tall and
the more stock. Some of them aren't.
Yeah, you make the end zone plays, don't you? You make the touchdowns. Look at Gronk, you look at Darren Waller, you look at Jason Witten from the Cowboys, Jared Cook at the Saints. They're all big people who get you a catch. One of the stats I was looking at, because you were talking about it, I was like, I'm going to have a look to see what our wide receiving yardage is like for the season. So Scotty Miller's hit 400 yards. Mike Evans has hit 373. Rob Gronkowski's hit 321, and Chris Godwin's hit 279. So he's spreading it about. So it's not just one guy. That's a team game. So if Antonio Brown comes in and hits about 400 along with all of that as well, he's spreading it about. He's not having that one receiver, because Mike Evans is that good. He always gets double teamed. So you're allowing Scotty Miller to run through, or Gronk, or even Cameron Brate as well. He gets a few as well. He's an unsung hero. I love Cameron Brate. I just think what Tom said. I don't think Evans or AB will want to be second fiddle to the other.
It's also hard, as a franchise to have that. Because they would sit there and go, well, we could blood a youngster through, and think about what we could get for Evans, or what we could get. It would be Evans they'd get rid of if you signed AB.
You massively save on
Evans. Evans is franchise. I think he's our franchise wide receiver. He's our franchise player.
So then you go, well, he's going to renew. Are they going to want to pay? But this is all reliant on AB actually being a success and then re-signing with the Bucs.
But again, we're talking about this rotation as well. We've got Fournette and Rojo who are doing it to bits as well. Like they don't mind. They're happy to rotate. So hopefully this mentality is going to win.
Fournette can't be ignored in the character stage. He's a bit of a knob himself,
He's worth well with Rojo. So.
Just mean his character. He's a bit of a pleb. You look at what he did at the Jags when he spat his dummy out. A bit of a dick, really. But that's just another big character you're going to have up against Antonio Brown. I just think I do have a Raiders cap on. I am a little bit biased towards the negative side of Antonio Brown. I just don't think the Bucs need him. That's my take on it. But we'll see. It's certainly something for the neutrals to watch it unfold.
Yeah, definitely.
To see what goes down. If you've got the Antonio Brown in 2017, then that's a hell of a player. There's no better wide receiver.
Yeah.
But on a less Antonio Brown note,
I've
got Carlsberg.
Hang on, does anybody want to guess what Tom's got? Oh, it's something different. Oh no, wait, it's Corona. I'm on something different. I'm on Hobgoblin Gold this week. It's an ale. I'm more of a cider drinker myself, but I don't mind the odd ale. It's all right. It's about 4.3, I think it is. It's all right. It'll do. It's wet. It's cold. A bit like Blackpool.
Yeah, spot.
So we've got some questions.
Yeah. Should I start on the Patriots one I had last week after the episode? I've literally just wrote a little bit down purely for Adam. So I won't profess to know loads about the Patriots. What I know was they were unbelievably successful with Brady and Belichick, and then Brady's now left, and there was a big question out there of
was it Brady? Belichick?
Yeah, and obviously at the moment it's looking like Brady was carrying them, but I think from what I've sort of dug and looked at, I think it's probably a bit of a false representation. So they're 2-5 for the season. They obviously signed Cam in the off season, which I thought was a brilliant move. Maybe need to start questioning that now. Don't know. But I'm shocked more people weren't after him. He's talented. He can do both. He can run and throw. But who knows? Maybe he's regressed a bit with the year he's had. But yeah, I mean, I've had a look, and he started solid, didn't he? They went 2-0 and looked really good with Cam, involved in the running game. Looked really good. Looked like Bill had made some great adjustments and started to scheme for him. But I think what you've probably seen is teams were maybe prepping for the Patriots of old that were a passing team. A mixture. And then they were coming up against a team that were just running and running and running and running. But now there's more tape out there for them. Teams are now obviously aware of Cam's ability and Bill's scheme with them. And maybe that is what's causing them to come unstuck. They've had some terrible games. He had terrible luck with Cam going on the COVID reserve, missed the Chiefs game. Josh Davis seems to think that the Patriots would have beat them if Cam was there. But I think that was more him saying he wasn't happy with the Chiefs' performance rather than the Patriots being good. They were unlucky on Sunday, weren't they? I think they were doing the right thing. They were running that ball. They were in scoring territory. They needed 3 points to tie it. Or was it 3 points to win it? Maybe. I can't remember. They were in field goal range, but obviously, naturally, you just burn the clock down, and Cam stupidly fumbled it, which is a shame because, again, he'll be in the highlight with him being the quarterback and the big name that they've signed, comparing him to what Brady would have done, who obviously wouldn't have ran. But, again, he gets highlighted more and more. I'd be very interested to see if there's any moves tonight from them. There've been a lot of rumours that every one of their players was on the block.
Shopping Gilmore. I can't believe nobody's. What I read today was they're looking at a first round and a player, which is a lot.
Yeah, but he is worth it.
Defensive player, best player on the defensive round the ball last year.
Yeah, I think if anyone goes, then I think that shows you Belichick's thoughts on this season. But I'm looking at it, and the fact no one has gone yet, when it's been out there for a couple of weeks that the Patriots are willing to sell, then maybe they aren't. I've had a look to their schedule that's left. No, it's not that easy. Maybe 5 more wins for them. The Bills look like they're going to take that division. So the Patriots.
I'd have an eye on the Dolphins for that division, though. Bills are having I think they might. I think they finish above the Patriots.
Yeah. There could be a possibility. Could be.
Patriots finished third in that division.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins are just something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I agree. They've had a lot of draft picks, haven't they?
They've got a lot next year as well.
Yeah, they have, and they've got Houston's who are doing terrible as well. So they've got their first, which is an absolute bonus for them.
Buzzing about it.
Yeah, but I'd look a bit deeper, more about the roster changes more than anything. And I think people expect, because the Patriots have won and won and won and won, that they just step up again and win. But this seems to be a massive transitional season for them. So there's 4 players that are picked out that are probably hugely impacted. You've obviously lost Brady, which, again,
is the GOAT. Like, let's be honest, he's the greatest player of all time.
Of course, and you lose, not only you lose his ability, whether he was regressing or not, the Patriots, you lose that influence in the locker room. And Cam is a different person. We all believe Cam is a spoiled little brat. Is that someone that can lead in the dressing room? I don't know.
I do think Brady is as well, by the way.
Yeah, I think he shows it on the sidelines, but I think what he does with players and how he, there's a story I heard about Brady which I really liked, was when he agreed to sign for Tampa, was he phoned the centre straight away and was like, I want you to wear a towel because our connection and with some of the weather that you get in Tampa, it needs to be right, and I'll work with you on it straight away. And stuff like that is like...
He works with players. He wants the best for everyone.
And he did some of the other... I think, was it your last game after the whistle had gone? He went and spoke to an opposition player that was a rookie or something, and there was a connection between his dad and Brady or stuff like that. I just think he's someone that does put time into players. Where I don't think I know you're not liking this, Matt, but I don't. Cam doesn't strike me as that. They've lost Gronk, who was a huge tight end, for them. Hightower's gone on the COVID list. The reserve, they opt out this year. That's a big loss at linebacker for them. And then the one that I didn't realise, but is Gostowski or Gostovsky, however it's
kicker.
pronounced. Yeah, the kicker. Now, he's had a shit season this season. I think he's at about just under 60% completion. When you look at his Patriots completions, he was 88-90% for the years that he was there. Yeah, so that's 4 big players for sort of key areas. Your quarterback, a tight end, probably your best linebacker, and your kicker that you've then gone. And I mean, you've even lost Sanu Senior, but that was through choice more than anything. So I just think that could be a long couple of years for the Patriots, because I don't think they'll get a top 10, top 15 pick this year. I still think they'll get 7 wins. So it's how they move.
Verbally, so they've dominated it the past few years. It's nice to actually.
It will be nice to see. Yeah, it will. But as a Patriots fan, and more for Adam, is maybe strap in for a bit, mate, because you might need to pick a new team, because you obviously only pick Patriots for winning.
Is he new to football?
I don't think so. So to be fair, I mean, I don't know if Adam might have been there when you were there. He was only Ensley team anyway. He was only there for a short period. He just I didn't even realise he was into it. He messaged me out of the blue just saying that, he was a heavy Patriots fan. Could we do a segment on what's happened? He said it might not actually be needed by the time you record, because we might beat the Bills, and it might all be, actually we're back. So I just thought I'd have a quick look into it and do a bit of 5 minutes on it. But yeah, I think has Bill had enough? We'll see.
There's a couple of funny stories about Belichick. And I think he was the Jets head coach before he was Patriots.
I didn't. I know he was Giants. I didn't know he was the Jets.
He was Jets for something like 20 odd days, and then went to the Patriots. Didn't manage it or coach a game for the Jets. It was during the off season.
Right.
So it could have absolutely changed the Jets' fortunes.
Yeah.
They could have been the dynasty, if you will. So yeah, I think he was coach for 20 odd days, something like that. And you mentioned about Gostkowski and how much of an impact a kicker can have. I think one team in recent history has drafted a kicker in the first round. And anybody want to hazard a guess what team that was?
Was it not us?
The Raiders, I think. Janikowski.
I'm pretty sure we took. I'm sure it's the first round. Thingy, we took a guy who, and it could be because he broke every single college record.
It's always a joke between Raiders fans that we didn't waste the first round pick. We used the first round pick on Sebastian Janikowski.
Was he good or?
Yeah, I think he holds something like 4 of the longest 5 field goals in history.
First round.
Second round. Sorry, we took him. Aguayo.
Yeah, it's like a running joke that only the Raiders would pick a fucking kicker first round pick. But
that's something Gettleman would do.
He's the one who they tried to have the 70-odd yarder.
Right.
I think he has some stupid stats, like he has 4 of the 5 longest kicks in history or something like that. I think he's at Seattle now. We let him go recently. He might have retired, I think, now. But anyway, yes, good question, I suppose, for a Patriots fan to know what I know about the team. I suppose my take is very similar to yours, Tom. I think Belichick's. I hate him, but I think he's very, very clever, very astute with what he does. Yeah. And I think all this talk of their players being on the trade block, I think is smoke and mirrors a little bit. I think there's no way they let Gilmore go. He's unreal, and the fact that he hasn't gone, and there's teams out there with draft capital, with players to get rid of, and he still hasn't left the Patriots. Yeah. I think it's just a bit of Belichick being Belichick, really. Trying to make it look like, we're going to tank, having a tough season, let's rebuild. Just having a tough season, Bill. Suck it up, Buttercup.
But like I said, the completely different quarterbacks, Cam Newton and Tom Brady. Tom Brady doesn't run out of the pocket. He's quite stationary. He will always find that pass, whereas Cam Newton's like, I'm the man, I'm going to run, and I'm going to get us this touchdown. And he has to be the star. Whereas I think Brady's more of a team player, like he likes to spread it about. But
ironically, they're both Bellends.
But the next question's a pretty quick one. It's, will the Jets win a game? A nice quick one.
No.
They're going to go out for 16.
Absolutely.
I can't see a team that they would beat unless we put a team together.
Yeah.
One of us is offense, one of us is defense, one is special teams. And,
Let's have a look. I mean, their next game is against the Patriots.
Patriots will win that. Well, Jets will lose it. That's more.
And then you've got Chargers, Dolphins, Raiders, Seahawks, Rams, Browns.
Actually, yeah, they will win a game.
Raiders. So,
Not a sniff.
no, you think it's
They
definitely
won't.
16?
They won't even be close.
No,
I hope not.
fair enough.
I hate them as well. I hate them.
Buddy Green. The next one. It's kind of a two-parter. I'll put this one in there. There is, who will be the next expansion team? Would you think is a team in Canada, Europe, or America? Would you think like if they did another team? Because there's always that talk about expansion, isn't there? Do you think London's going to get the Jags, or there's going to be additional teams anywhere else moving?
Claire made some really valid points, didn't she, when we had that conversation with her about the London franchise and how it's logistically not possible. Talking about your trades and everything like that, and
tax implications.
Yeah, and I'd never thought of it like that. So I think that has pretty much shut down the London franchise. Canada,
So, any other states or that don't have any? You look at the states now. Like
I don't think Canada would take it because they've got CFL,
Canadian Football League, haven't they? Yeah.
Is Manziel still playing there? Johnny Football? I don't know.
Is he?
I think he went. I don't know if he's still playing. But
I don't know the states in America enough, to be fair. New York could do with one. They've not got many. No.
And then
LA are short of a team as well.
And then the other one was like a team that needs a rebrand. Besides Washington,
shit colour.
Getting a fucking Washington Football Club.
Yeah, Washington needs to do something with that. They can't stick with that name. It's awful.
No other team need a rebrand, like I said, the LA to. Like
I think the Chiefs may get pushed. I think again, not to get all political, but they were one of the team names banded around, weren't they, when Washington were getting dug out after the whole BLM movement and what's politically correct. So maybe they will get away with it whilst they're a winning
Kansas
franchise
City
if they're NFL's postage, poster team. But I think as maybe when that drops, or if that drops, probably won't in the 10 years that Mahomes is there, they may be forced to change that name.
What if Mahomes wins another 2 or 3 Super Bowls? Call it Kansas City Mahomes. And then one of my favourite questions that we've had in, it's from Jared, and it's, if you could have one player from another sport on your team, who would you have?
Another sport?
So you talk about LeBron or Usain Bolt. If you could pick somebody from a sport to have in your football team, who would you have?
Akin Fenway.
He's a beast. As a running back.
Get him at right guard.
He's beast mode unlocked, beast mode online.
Great question.
LeBron at tight end.
That is a good question. I'm edging towards someone like Itoje, the England rugby player. He's big, tall, stocky unit of a man. Used to catch an egg-shaped ball. So
yeah,
you've seen a few clips of Harry Kane doing a bit of kicking, though, haven't you? So...
He was next. I was going to say that's what he said his dream is once he retires from football.
Once I'm not good enough to play soccer, I'll go on in millions. It's the dream position, isn't it? I think
he's a Patriots fan, isn't he? Yeah, well, I think Beckham was touted about it, wasn't he? They were touting around Beckham for it. So the fact that Spurs have got this link with the NFL and Kane really likes the NFL, he's done some of these promo videos here and there. He's come out and said that he'd love to do that, but I mean, if anyone could, I'm sure he could. He's absolutely elite. It's just an elite mentality. But
what's his wage at Spurs?
200, just over, I believe.
So you're talking 12 million a year, give or take.
And he could double that for a season.
He probably wouldn't even be after that because it's his dream and he's made, isn't he? The fact that he's stayed at Spurs shows he's not a bloody mercenary. He could earn double that somewhere.
I think kickers get somewhere like three or four on average, $3 or $4 million. So
you'd take that to fucking kick 4 balls a game or something like that.
So not get hurt.
You know what I mean? It's madness, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
even just take field goals and extra points. You don't even have to do the punts, does he?
Yeah.
Come on and do that.
Yeah. But I think LeBron at tight ends are good and big, beastie, athletic.
And Dharma
Elite.
Traore running back.
Oh, that's a shout, you know. That's a shout.
You got a little
Monster.
fucking stocky guy with
Oiled up.
Imagine him with a helmet on and everything like.
Yeah, that's a good shout. I like that. That's a good question.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. I said as soon as I did that, I was like, yeah, that's definitely going straight in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, is there another rule that we want to talk about?
We had a question from.
Oh, you got another question?
Oh, Josh Davis. Yeah. So it was one play from your team this year so far that is your favourite. Could be anything. It could be offense, defense, special teams. But you can only have one.
Yeah, when you text that in the group, I knew straight away which player I wanted. Partly because it is against the Chiefs, but mostly because it was Ruggs' first touchdown in the NFL.
Yeah.
And it was the way he ran the route, the way he caught the ball, the celebration, the subway shuffle, which meant $50,000 was donated to charity. All those sort of things for me were like, it just stood out straight away. And it is against division rivals. It was a great win.
Yeah.
And Josh did ask the question. He is a Chiefs fan, so I had to go that way. It was mainly because it was Ruggs' first touchdown in the NFL.
Yeah.
It was a good touchdown as well. He showed off his speed when he caught the ball. He literally 2 or 3 steps, and the guy was smoked. So, and the celebration meant 50K was raised for charity as well. So that was quite an obvious one for me.
Yeah. Jamie,
No.
do you want me to go?
I think the only thing with Brady, I mean, a lot of it is not special razzle-madazzle plays. It's just we're going to throw the ball and we're going to get the touchdown. I don't think we've had that many like sensational plays. I mean, that touchdown, I think, with Scotty Miller against the Raiders was an unbelievable throw. Like I adored that. But I was talking about one of my favourite plays of all time. I put the GIF in the chat yesterday, you know, when we had that punt and we stopped on the 1 yard line. I love plays like that.
Yeah.
I know obviously that was a few years ago, but that play we did last night when he just runs out and he jumps and he just keeps on the 1 yard line. Anytime a team does that, it gives me a little bit of an exciting time downstairs.
I don't think you've seen the Raiders player. His name is escaping me right now. Who the other team punted the ball to literally land it on the 1 yard line, as you said, and he scoops it up.
Yeah, just
runs into the end zone, and just ends up taking it the full length of the field. His name's gone from me. It was a couple of years ago, but it's been stuff like that.
I absolutely like I said, they punt it right on the 1 yard line. It's about to go for a touchback, and he literally Michael Jackson smooth criminals down, gets the ball, throws it up before his feet goes in the end zone, and the guy just literally just stops on the 1 yard line without going into the end zone. On the 1 yard line. It's my favourite play of all time. It wasn't this season, but plays like that give me a great big stiffy. Yeah,
the Giants had one about 3 seasons ago when I first started watching. It was brilliant. If I was to go for any, when he texted, I had a bit of think, and I'm stuck between 3, 2 offensive and 1 defensive. So I'm going to go for the defensive one because we haven't picked that so far. But the 2 offensive I was stuck with was DJ to Slayton in the first game against the Steelers. It was about 50-odd yard reception for a touchdown. He just identified that he was in man coverage and that the safety he'd just gone swimming, basically. And he just dropped it into his path and rinsed it home. And I just love the DJ and Slayton connection. It paid me well last season on Bet365, and it paid me well in that game. It hasn't paid me well since, unfortunately, but I do like that connection. The other one was last night. We had a big 3rd down we needed, and it looked like we were tossing a screenplay to Golden Tate, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, yeah, and then actually Golden Tate threw it back to Sterling Shepard, and he got the 18-yard gain from a screen on 3rd. But I just like them sort of trick plays where you've sort of got a wide receiver that's then tossing the ball. We've seen it a few times this season already with the Browns and Landry and OBJ, haven't we? But I'm going to go with touchdown versus Washington when Fackrell and Blake Martinez doubled on who was playing at quarterback for them, Kyle Allen, and got the ball loose, and Tay Crowder, Mr. Irrelevant, returned it home for a touchdown. It was nice to see, you know.
Love a pick six.
Yeah, and when it's a Mr. Irrelevant in his second game, where it's a shame that he's on IR at the moment with a hamstring injury, but he looked like he was coming on at that linebacker, and I know Mark has said he's not too sure about Giants linebackers. I'm glad he got to witness Martinez straight away nail Rojo for a nice fumble yesterday, and it was nice that he commented on the group that he still doesn't make Blake Martinez good. But again, just to talk about a stat that I saw, mainly for Mark more than anything, but Blake Martinez, according to the PFF, is number 1 in stops through 8 games with 38. Levante David of the Buccaneers is 2 with 33. So he's 5 ahead of Levante David. The guy's an absolute monster. He is just there to tackle. He loves it, and he gets his body about, and he's great. What a pick up free agency. Gettleman has done well in free agency this season. I can't fault him for free agency. He's a joke. He's a prick. He should not be anywhere near the Giants anymore, but he's done well free agency with him and Bradbury and Logan Ryan. But yeah, nice to see Mr. Elvin, and I can't wait for him to be back. Having him and Martinez and Fackrell as 3 linebackers, I'm quite comfortable there. I could live without Fackrell. Martinez and Tay Crowder excite me. So yeah, that would be my play.
I think I've got, these aren't Bucks plays, but my favourite play of the weekend was the Colts. I rate the Colts. I think they're a great team. But that play against the Lions where he did that spin, you know, where he got the ball, did the spin, and then got the touchdown. But my favourite play of probably all time, besides that's not a Buccaneers play, is Dan Jones winning 80 yards and falling on the floor. I fucking love it. It's the best thing I've ever seen in my life. It makes me happy. Every time I see it, it makes me smile. So all for the wrong reasons. Yeah, that's the best thing. That's all he's ever going to be known for in his career, is that moment when he fails miserably.
Just to go on to DJ and take it, being serious about it. I think I saw his post-match interview yesterday, and I have concerns over where he sort of is in his head. He didn't come across well yesterday at all, and it wasn't that he was being a prick or anything like that, but he just seemed very weak. Like, this is 3 sort of games on the bounce now, excluding the win with Washington, where he's just repeated in his press conferences post game when the journals are asking him about his mistakes. He just keeps basically repeating, "Yeah, it's on me. Yeah, it's on me. You know, I've got to do better there. I've got to do better there." And it just doesn't seem like he's got a fight about it. It doesn't seem like he's saying it because he believes, actually, yeah, I can improve in that area, or what about this that we did well, blah, blah, blah. He's very, very lackluster, and yeah, I've got to do better there. And I just want to see someone like Joe Judge come out after the Bucks game. That's the one thing I would like to see from Joe Judge, is he's come out and not hung DJ out to dry, but made a point and said he wasn't good enough as our QB today. He's still our quarterback, and we're still persevering with him, which is what he's saying, but he's not saying that he's cost us a game. And there's probably a better way to say it than "you cost us that game," but he needs to be saying, "I want to see more from him," because, you know, we've got Cooper Rush is the one is that the one you mentioned for Cowboys? Yeah. Who's the one that guys keep the Giants fans keep talking about? Colt McCoy is our reserve QB. He's been an NFL QB before, I believe. Sooner or later, journals are going to actually start asking that question, I think, of Joe Judge. And I would have preferred him to sort of met that head on after this post conference and said, "We should have beat the Bucks."
He could have made his debut and won the game, you know.
Yeah. I don't want to see DJ drop, but I want to see him have a boot up his arse publicly, not just behind closed doors. And let's see what he's made of.
It's the best way. Like I said, when Winston was doing it, they put Fitzpatrick in. Yeah. So
I just don't want him to be dropped, but I want him to know that, you know, he cost us a game, and we all believe that he cost us that game.
After a high draft pick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tos.
Yeah.
Right. Fuck's
What,
sake.
did he go three? Was it number 3 overall? Was it
6.
6 overall?
Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of things going about on Giants Twitter. Apparently, the year before we passed on Lamar Jackson.
Everybody did, didn't they?
Yeah,
But he had an awful first season. He wasn't that good in the first season, was he?
yeah. I know hindsight's a
breakout
wonderful
second
thing. Yeah, but apparently Shermer didn't like him and didn't rate him, which says all about Pat Shermer. You fucking dickhead. But then I think even last year, I think there was Josh Allen go after DJ last year.
Yeah.
You start to ask yourself questions, don't you? But I have faith he'll be a franchise quarterback. It's just his time's ticking, unfortunately. He's not going to get the 4 years that Eli had to start to make it happen. He's got this season for me, I think. And I really don't want to draft a Buckeye. I really do not want to draft a Buckeye. Not after seeing what Haskins is like.
I like the Giants. I always have. They've always been my second team because I love New York so much. And like I said, I followed the Giants before I properly got into NFL, like religiously. I always followed the Bucs and the Giants, but he's just awful. I don't like him.
So the Giants are your second team. Who's your second team, Tom?
My second team now are Seahawks. Yeah. That's only because of Mercedes. No. Because Mercedes is a Seahawks fan, so we're a Bucs Seahawks house.
It's got to be the Raiders. I always keep an eye on that result.
Yeah, you know, man, and you hate it. It's Green Bay.
Don't make me say it.
That's what I mean. That's that.
We've had it once.
I'm not a Green Bay fan, but I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan. I think he's, again, behind Tom Brady, is one of the best of all time.
And we all have the Seahawks as number 3, I think.
Yeah.
That's probably fair. Which moves us nicely on to the mentions of the week. I don't know. I think I do know sort of both of yours, and I've forgotten to pick one. So I've been sort of racking my brains a little bit throughout this, and I have decided it's going to go to a Seahawks player. Reasonings that they get a great win, divisional win against San Francisco. I think they were behind as well, weren't they?
Yeah, we watched that game. Wilson the Bucs were playing Monday night. We watched that.
Yeah, Wilson threw 4 touchdowns. It's not Wilson.
Say that name that I love.
It's going to go to your boy DK Metcalf, and I'll tell you why.
2 CDs.
It's that pacifier mouth guard, isn't it?
It's last week he was ineffective. I think we spoke about. Apart from his cornerback antics, the interception, he was largely ineffective. And how many yards did you say Mike Evans has run this year? Is it 373? DK Metcalf ran 161 in a game on Sunday. 161 receiving
He's on
yards.
700 for the year, I think.
So he almost had half of Mike Evans' season in a game. So I'm just going to give it 161 yards in a game for a wide receiver. It's nearly up and down the pitch twice. 12 receptions, average of 13.4 yards per catch, and 2 TDs. So I'm going to give it. Whilst I've got the chance of you not giving it to DK Metcalf, Tom, I'm going to give it to DK Metcalf this week.
He's unbelievable. Like I know I was such a loving for him, and it's mad because if you'd have asked me the season before last to even want to look at the Seahawks results, I would have told you to jog on because I couldn't stand Russell Wilson. But DK's making me love the Seahawks, and he's making me warm to Russ, and I don't like it because I don't like him. He's a prick.
Why is he a prick? Why don't you like Russell
because he's
Wilson?
too nice. I just don't like him. He's married to Ciara, whatever she's called. So he's got an absolute worldie on his arm. He's loaded.
He was a no sex before marriage guy, wasn't he?
This is what I mean. Like, what a boring guy. What a boring guy. You're in the NFL.
In God we trust.
I read a story
think
about
of what you could have.
when
you were in college as that quarterback, you'd be pounding. Absolute pounding. And you chose no vag before marriage. What a mad guy.
He spends $1 million a year on his health, fitness and nutrition. He has 2 chefs. He reckons he trains 363 days a year. The only 2 days he has off is Christmas Day and Thanksgiving.
Everyone's got to have Thanksgiving off. one of the best days of the year.
Unless you are a
Cowboys.
Cowboys or Lions player, where you are
Yeah.
guaranteed to play on Thanksgiving Day every year. Which still annoys me. With the Cowboys, it really gets on my nerves that they.
They're America's team.
Yeah, that's the only reason they play on Thanksgiving Thursday. I mean, I don't mind. We get 2 extra games in the week that are early kickoff, so you get the tea time kickoff, which is usually the Lions, I think, and then the Cowboys come after. But yeah,
He's just a boring guy, and that just says it all, Matt. I mean, I don't like slacking him off because I start to like him, but he's just a boring
He's a
guy.
consummate professional.
I want my QB to be out there.
I can make you dislike him a little bit more if you want. He had the chance to win the Super Bowl against the Patriots probably 7 or 8 years ago, maybe less. I can't remember. 5 or 6 years ago, and they were something like 2nd and 2, seconds, not long to go, 30 seconds to go, minutes to go, something like that. And for all intents and purposes, all 3 of us know here when you are 2nd and 2, you run the ball. And he threw it and it got intercepted, and the Patriots won the Super Bowl. And it's been the big debate forever since then. That why did he throw the ball? I've tried to defend him.
He's not elite.
He's
not elite. He's not. He's not got a ring.
He's the MVP front runner. Again,
He's not got a ring, has he?
No, he lost it. He's only been once.
Yeah,
He's not. He's never had a vote for MVP. He is not elite.
He's the front runner this year.
But
So
why
far.
have you got me slagging him off when I like the Seahawks? This is what you do to me. We were talking about
I love
DK,
him.
who I absolutely love, and then you brought me on to a boring.
He has won the Super Bowl.
Has he?
Yeah. He won it.
Okay, maybe he's
yeah,
he's
of course.
half
He
elite.
hammered the Broncos, didn't he?
He's
Right.
half elite.
He hammered the Broncos 43-8 in 2013. Forgot about that. I watched that game.
Not Eli though, is he? You know what I mean?
He's not got 2.
Yeah.
Not got.
Neither of the Bucks.
Yeah.
Hey, we got one. We're all right.
But yeah, I think
Against the Raiders.
Gruden.
Yeah, I mean, mine wasn't going to be DK because I'd just be saying it every week because he's just a beast. But me and Jamie, I think we said the same. It'd be Dalvin Cook turning up again. I mean, to be fair, he's playing a shit team, but to three rushing touchdowns and a receiving touchdown, 163 rushing yards, 63 receiving yards against 2 catches. What more can you say? I think player of the week for me, especially when you got Kirk Cousins throwing you the ball. He's got to have done something to do well there to make sure that he got him 63 over 2 receptions.
They're going to struggle to get out of Kirk Cousins' contract, I think. I think he's on big money. I think he's on big money.
No one's going to want him, are they?
I think it's guaranteed as well.
He's coming out saying, isn't he? He's been coming out saying he's worried about, well, basically he's fighting for his job. He knows he's fighting for his job.
You might have to take a hit.
The only other play that we'd probably mention, but I'm not going to, would
We can skip that. We can skip past this bit.
Would be Mahomes got 5, so well done.
Yeah.
He got 5, but it's
I
natural.
think
He's not
norm.
getting any special.
It's just the norm for him.
Yeah, he's not getting any special
Yeah.
treatment.
I mean, teams roll over for him, don't they now? So
Yeah.
It's
One
not
team
against
that didn't roll
Mahomes.
over.
Stay
Are you-
now.
Do you know what I think it is? A lot of players that come up against him, their favourite colour's red. So they just go, well, we'll just let them win because we know people like red. We just want winners. I know, John.
One thing I will say about Mahomes is the underarm pass was pretty cool.
Unbelievable.
We won't say much. Yeah.
Just flicked it towards, I think it was Travis Kelce, and he scored a touchdown from it. Belland. It looked like he just couldn't be bothered throwing it. He just went, you go, have
Yeah,
that.
I'm sure that's his second this season.
Yeah, have that.
Yeah.
And touchdown. Yeah, all the best. 5 touchdowns in a game. Cheers.
Besides, obviously,
He weren't playing the Jets. I mean,
I know.
I think I throw 5 touchdowns against the Jets.
I'm going to give an actual extra special mention here. It's not a positive one, it's a negative one. And it's for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Because I had a little cheeky little bet on Sunday. And I had a bet that 3 players would go over 100 yards rushing. I went for Derrick Henry, who finished with, 1 second and I'll tell you. Derrick Henry finished with 112 yards. So, tick. I went with Josh Jacobs, who finished on 130, tick. And I went with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And guess how many rushing yards that your Rookie of the Year from last week, how many rushing yards he finished on?
Please say it's
21.
99. Oh.
He just took it easy. He just didn't want to turn up against the Jets.
I'm thinking it's the Jets, the worst team in NFL history probably at the moment.
How many rushes did he have?
He had 6 carries.
How many did Bell have?
6 carries.
Oh, so they just didn't run the ball much. Well,
No.
I suppose you're playing the Jets, aren't you?
Yeah,
It's like
Why would you?
Glitchy. Do you remember when you used
Be
to
like, just do the favour, run up there. Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
when you play
thrown over his
FIFA.
shoulder.
It's like when you used to
under the
play,
leg.
It's like when you play FIFA, you know, when you're playing squad battles against a computer, you just want to score worldies, and you're like just passing the ball around, trying to score over kicks and scorpion kicks. That's what Mahomes was doing. He's basically playing like
Piss take game.
I think Mahomes was reading the paper at one point. Oh, the ball.
Oh, a ball!
I think he signed his shoelace once and scored a touchdown pass.
It's ridiculous.
Because there was a play. I think it was a college game, and I think that's what Mahomes kind of just did. Did you see that college backwards throw?
Yeah.
He literally just got the ball like.
I watched a great clip of like the best trick plays in American football. It was college and NFL. And one of them was great. It was a college. I think it might have been a high school game because there was no stadium there or anything like that. And the quarterback just bends down, picks up the ball from centre, and holds it up towards the referee and says, "Oh, there's a problem with the ball." And he's walking, gets past the line of scrimmage and just belts it for a touchdown.
Yeah.
It's so good, so good. He just picks up. He's like, "There's a problem with the ball." And he just goes on, gets on his toes and scores a touchdown. And then I love trick plays. Nick Foles in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. The Philly special, especially against the Patriots.
Yeah, don't mention
what's going on? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? All right, touchdown.
I think Wilson's had a few trick plays, only in over the just to bring us back to Russell over the years. He caught a touchdown pass.
He needs to do something to be exciting, a boring sod.
I'd take his lifestyle and be boring, to be honest. I see on $35 million a year.
Give me my lifestyle any day, living payday. Have a personality like mine over Russ's.
Yeah, I'm all right drinking these beers that I pay for.
I'm begging for a Corona sponsorship because I can't afford a crate. He could probably buy Corona.
Yeah, the only Corona we get is the virus.
Yeah. So I think that's us wrapped nicely then, I suppose, is it? We sort of went off on a bit of tangent there.
I mean, the Thursday night games is pretty tasty. It's Packers 49ers, but
shite. Unfortunately, it will be. I agree that would have been a tasty game, but poor Garoppolo and Kittle both out. Kittle for the season and Garoppolo likely for the season.
I'm going to say they're better without Jimmy G. And I asked JP in the group if he rated him, and he did, which disappointed me.
He did, yeah. Which made me realise we probably shouldn't have let him in.
Everyone sticks by their team's quarterback, no matter who.
I'm gonna.
I mean, Tom loves Dan DJ, but nobody does. I love Winston. Nobody else does.
On that weekend, Garoppolo threw for 84 yards and 1 interception. Sorry, and then Mullins came in and threw 2 touchdowns and no interceptions and 238 yards. So is Garoppolo good? No.
He was limping most of the game, but when he was injured.
He's the second worst quarterback that's got to a Super Bowl in recent years.
Tell me who's the first.
Cam Newton.
Eli.
Don't disagree.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully.
Hall of Famer, 2 rings.
He beat the Patriots, so he's a hero of mine.
Yeah, you love him, yeah.
Hopefully next week is going to be a good week. Hopefully we're all going to be...
in Brady's head rent-free.
Please, I'd love a 3-win week.
We haven't had one yet, have we?
No, of course we haven't. Not me.
Hang on.
Wait, I was trying to think then. When Giants won,
Raiders were on a bye, weren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I know.
Ruining it all.
We've had a week where none of us lost.
Yeah, true.
I mean, divisional games as well, so hopefully it's going to be a very good
Yeah,
it's either going to be a massively upbeat episode or a non-existent episode.
It'll just be episode 7 was not able to record.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's talks of maybe getting some special guests on next week as well, so hopefully it'll be pretty exciting.
Yeah, we'll hopefully get one on soon and mix it up. And hopefully we can reconnect with the one that we hope to get on soon, which will be a big one for everyone.
Yeah, I think if you are watching, listening, and you're watching on YouTube and whatever, put it in the comments, or if you're on Twitter, Facebook, whatever, put it. I don't fully understand how social media works properly, as you'll see by the amount of times I share things on Facebook from the third and short post, because I'm such a mong with Facebook and stuff. But, if you want to get at us to come on and be a guest or whatever, do it. If you've got someone you suggest, we try and get in touch with. I'd love Vernon Kay to come on. That'd be my sort of the best.
And the thing is, as well, you share the podcast, like it, subscribe, follow. The more likes and follows we get, the bigger stars we can attract.
Yeah. Before you know it, we'll have Brady on.
Oh, well, I need to go change my pants.
I will quit the podcast with Tom Brady.
And a new podcast, a third and short. Jamie Crawford, Tom Higgins, and Tom Brady.
I will quit. I will not follow NFL for a year if Tom Brady comes on our podcast. Tweet him, put it on Instagram.
Could you imagine? That would be incredible.
Actually, no, I will come on that episode. I'll tell him what I think of him.
You're a dick.
I will go to town on him.
I'm getting the word.
He's a team player, but he's taking 25 million a year, 50 million off the books.
Yeah,
team player.
I think Gary Nichols will come on soon. I had a bit of a conversation with him on Twitter.
I saw that.
You see I took it personally meme that he did. I was laughing my head off. But yeah, he knows I know what he is. But that will make good content having him on as someone that probably isn't interested in NFL to sort of either try and tell him why.
Yeah.
Because he'll ask questions that no one else would ask because he doesn't care, but in a good way.
If there was no lockdown, what we should do is have all three of us together with someone that's never watched it before and do a live episode.
Yeah,
I think that's a great idea.
I
literally just have somebody watching it for the first time.
Yeah, I think Phil would want to do that. Phil was going to come down next week to watch the Eagles game with me. Obviously, that isn't going to happen now because Bojo's done what he's done because he's a coward. But, I think he would be a good one to have, that someone that's really wanting to get into it and, was reading up on it and starting to follow it and then actually sit and watch a game with three people that probably understand 95% of it. It'd be great to have.
I say we definitely need to have him on. We need to have him on soon as well. I mean, especially for unboxing and stuff. So.
Oh yeah, that's due tomorrow.
I'm sure we'll get it. Oh, hey, if it comes tomorrow, at least we can still get it. Otherwise, we have to wait a month, because of the law.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So unless obviously you're gonna have to keep it for 14 days, disinfect it, and we can pick it up.
Oh bloody hell! But yeah, so I think that wraps up nicely. So again, thanks everyone. Keep the support coming. I know we probably sound painful when we're sharing it on Facebook, etc. But we like this, and we want this to be something that we continue doing and have a community that grows. Like Matt mentioned earlier, our WhatsApp group's grown. There's got to be close to probably 10, 12 people in there now, maybe even more.
I think it's probably nearly 20 of that.
If you want to have 500 messages on a Tuesday morning, join the group. If you want to join the group, let us know.
If you do listen to the podcast and you want to come in the group chat, and you know one of us personally, get at us. Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
It's 95% of the time it's a laugh.
Yeah.
Until there's
your teams play.
Yeah, literally. Until there's some dodgy results.
Until the refs are throwing flags in, you just get Bones chatting about flags and calls and every week without fail, Bones.
It's 15 people in the group now.
Yeah, so
6 of us for about a year.
Exactly. Yeah, even seeing that group grow, it is good for us. But we want this community to grow. The NFL in the UK is growing rapidly. And we've become a part of that, and we want to get people on our journey, definitely. So I'll hand over to Matt to give you all our handles. I'll throw the TikTok one in there. It's Third and Short Pod, and Matt will keep his little cheeky videos coming up, and they'll be on there. But yeah, TikTok's more just to try and get a few subscribers more than provide content for you guys. But over to you, Matt.
Yeah, YouTube is the one where we sort of look at the results more, if you will. We look at the views and subscribers and things. That's because I think we all know what YouTube is. I'm not particularly good on Spotify. Jamie's the one for the.
I was going to say, you're the YouTube guy. I'm the Spotify and streaming guy.
YouTube is. I'm going to give you all the links. I don't even know them. That's how pants I am at stuff like that. One sec. Apologies. I think it's Third and Short UK on YouTube.
You should notice by now. I've been doing it 6 weeks and you have to check every week.
It's because they're all sort of the same but different, aren't they?
Yeah.
YouTube is Third and Short UK podcast. Facebook is Third and Short podcast. Twitter is Third
Short
Pod. Is it? Yeah. So just get ours. Questions are great. Love the questions. Jamie doesn't tell us them when he gathers them. So the question.
You got to think on your feet. I like to keep it a bit more entertaining.
Yeah, and we're not getting paid for that. So thanks to the made-up person, whoever that was.
Yeah.
No, it was a genuine question. It was a genuine question, but I think they all came from the same person, didn't they? Get ours. We enjoy doing this every week. We say we want to try and keep it under an hour, and I think we've broken our longest episode record again this week.
Yeah.
You still got to go for my conversations record of 3 hours.
Yeah.
Once
Maybe the Super Bowl.
Once we get Mark on, going on through his draft.
Absolutely,
through his draft.
And we'll put subtitles on that one for you.
I can't honestly go wait to have Mark on. I think not only because he's a Raiders fan, so I'll be listening to what he says probably more than I would most people, but just his knowledge and his obsession for NFL, he's on another level. A bit like Claire that we had on the other week.
Yeah.
Well, he came out with a whole list for every single team of ours, didn't he? In the group, and these are the people you should look for.
Yeah, doesn't know any of us personally. I just know him from Twitter and being a Raiders fan. Never met him, and he's literally giving tips for everybody's team in the group chat.
Didn't somebody ask the question, just lastly, going off that, what position we'd like to see in our team?
Yeah, we were gonna.
Yeah, Matt. Yeah, I think we'll probably do that on it.
We'll do that next week. It's been too long.
Otherwise, it'll be another half an hour, especially when we talk about all positions we need.
Well, hopefully it's going to be a good weekend. Divisional games. It's going to be a good week 7. So go Bucks.
Go on, the G-men.
Not week 8.
Did I say? Actually. It's week 9. I'm just thinking because we're episode 7, I'm going like an episode ahead on. It was week 8. It was a good week 8. We beat the Giants, so it was great.